Okay, moving on to the multiple choice. Looking at the first one, since it has a negative exponent, we need to move it down. So we need to take the 3 to the negative second, and we need to move it down to the bottom, so the square root of 45 stays on top, and then it's 3 to the positive second at the bottom, which is a 9, and the square root of 45 can be broken down. So there is a 9 times 5, square root of both of those, inside the square root of 45. So the top becomes 3 root 5, and the bottom becomes 9, which I then can continue to simplify a little bit further. So divide them both by 3, and I end up getting 1 root 5 over 3, which is the same thing as root 5 over 3, which is C. The next problem is interesting. So we've seen this on the Keystone exam a few times, usually in the second day, which is called Module 2. So basically what they were trying to say is if you plug a number in for x, whether that number be 2, 6, 10, or 11, you will be able to simplify the radical further. So meaning you'll be able to find a perfect square inside. So you can easily just kind of plug these numbers in, multiply. So if I plug in 2, I would multiply 39 times 2 and see if I could simplify further. That's probably one of the ways that you could do it. Another way that I ended up doing it, which you'll see on my answer key, is I ended up breaking down 39, and I broke down 39 to figure out what two numbers, actually what two prime numbers multiplied together would give me 39. So that's the square root of 3 times the square root of 13. So 3 and 13 are both prime numbers, which means I can't break them down any further. So then what I did is I looked at my list and I tried to figure out which of these numbers also has a 3 or a 13 in it. And that's how I got my answer of 6. So 6 is technically 3 and 2. So if I multiply 39 by 6, I should be able to take out a 3 times 3, which is a 9. So there should be a square root of 9 in it, which would allow me to simplify it further. So let's test this theory. So what I did is I took the square root of 39 and I multiplied it by x, which I'm going to say is 6. So 39 times 6 gives me the square root of 234. And then from 234, I went through my process of finding the biggest perfect square. So the biggest perfect square I found was 9 and 26. So yes, I can simplify this further. So by multiplying by 6, I got 234, and then I can simplify that further by pulling out a 3, because it's the square root of 9, and getting 3 root 26. So yes, now I can simplify further. So, and it wouldn't work for 2 because there is no factor of 2 in here. There's no 2 and 3 and 2 and 13. 10 gets broken down into 2 and 5. So that would be a 3 times 13 times a 2 times a 5. That's not going to work, and 11 is not going to work either. So you were trying to look for basically a double of a number. So I have a 3 and a 13. This would give me 2 3s, which means together I'd be able to pull out the 9. All right, looking at the next one. So each side of the square is 8 root 5. So the first thing I realized is that the square means all the sides are going to be congruent. So all my sides are going to be 8 root 5. Okay, every single side is 8 root 5. And then they want me to find the area, or they gave me the area is 32x, and they want me to find out what that x value is. So area is base times height, which is the same thing as side squared. So you can kind of do it either way. I think it's easier just to go through and do base times height. But some people like to square the sides as well. So do 8 root 5 squared. So I'm going to do 8 root 5 times 8 root 5. So when I go through and I multiply that, that's going to be 64 root 25. So the root 25 becomes a 5. So 64 times 5 gives me that my area should equal 320. So I need to figure out 32 times what number gives me 320? Well, 32 times 10 gives me 320, but you can always simplify or solve, this one-step equation, and you would end up getting 10. So 32 times 10 gives me what the area should be, which is 320 centimeters squared. All right, last problem here. So kind of a similar problem. They want us to look at this expression, which is 5 root 48a, and you want this expression to be equivalent, which in math, that means equals to 60. So they want this expression to equal 60. So whatever the radical needs to be, it needs to simplify and completely go away in order to get 5 times some number, which would give me 60. And that 5 times some number would be 12. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off here and write this equation and kind of just solve it like I would solve any equation. So I would get, pretending like this was an x or a variable I need to solve for, there's multiplication going on here. So I would divide both sides by 5. It's going to give me the square root of 48a equals 12. And then, since I need to get the square root of 48a has to equal 12, what I need to figure out is that 12 is actually the same thing as the square root of 144. So they're the exact same thing. So we agree that the square root of 144 would simplify to 12. So that means I need whatever a to be, a times 48 has to equal 144. So I'm going to find out what that number is, I'm going to divide by 48. And I'm going to see that a has to be equal to 3. And I can quickly go through and check that. So I would do 5 square root of 48 times 3. I want that to equal 60. Well, 5 square root of 48 times 3 is 144, has to equal 60. That would be 5 times 12, and 5 times 12 does, in fact, equal 60. So it works out. So my answer is going to be A. But like I kind of made a little note there, you can also just plug in and check. So you could actually jump right, instead of having to go through the solving steps, you could jump right into plugging in 3, seeing if it simplifies to give you 60 and ends up being the first one. So it ends up being nice. But if it didn't work out, you'd move on to 4, move on to 9, move on to 16. All right, guys. So that was going through the radicals formative assessment. Hopefully I was able to clarify some of the questions that you had going through. Tomorrow's lesson, we're going to have you working on some IXL, and then we're going to move on next week to a little bit more review of stuff that we've worked on so far in class. Similar format, giving you 1 or 2 days to work on the actual sheet or worksheet that we're giving you, and then a day with an answer key and a video so that you can check your answers. Keep up the good work, guys. We love what we're seeing on OneNote. All right, have a good day.